I find that, firstly, utterly astonishing.
Are they useful? We're asking about what use are they worth having?
Yes, they are worth having, and
challenge us with evidence.
They are worth having because at long last, we have a fountain of knowledge that the parents were denied in the past about education. I think now at last we can look into what's going on in the education establishment. I read in the paper recently that the inspectors, that out of these 200 schools that are in the bottom of the league, 6 inspections took place in the last 9 years. Now, what on earth are the inspectors doing about these schools? The lowest in the country, the inspectors have only gone in 6 times, and they should be going in there regularly and bringing the lowest schools up to the highest. There's no doubt about it that in the wealthiest boroughs, the teachers are going to the wealthiest schools. Now, they should be going into the poorer schools and uplift those poorer schools and have them all on the same basis. I think there should be a radical approach to education. It should be above political dogma and above political theory. And if we had that, we would have a decent education in this country.
Why are we letting you up? Well, aren't we letting him down?
See, one thing we haven't mentioned yet is, are there bad teachers in the system? And if they are, why don't we get rid of them? There are bad teachers.
Emily?
But just Baroness, why don't you...
You've asked the question.
But I take the point.
Hello and good morning.
End of the day, is it another victory for the terrorist if we're all carrying ID cards? I think it is.
I would go much farther than that. I'm 40 years in this country, an Irishman. Sorry. I'm 40 years in this country, an Irishman, and what the IRA did in Warrington, I am utterly ashamed of what they did. They didn't do it on my behalf, and I apologise to the people of Britain for they gave me a good life in this country, 40 years in full employment, and I'm thankful. And that isn't my way of thanking the British people for those murdered. They didn't murder on my behalf. Now, I'll go further and say this.
How can we tighten up the security?
I would advocate the reintroduction of internment. Now, in the past, when internment was introduced, there was a groundswell of opinion against it, because at first this was a civil rights, and then the couple of blunders by the British Army when 10 people were killed in Derry, etc. But that's all in the past. I would advocate that. The IRA...
Internment means, of course, that the security forces in Northern Ireland, perhaps in Great Britain too, would actually go and pick up all those they suspect of belonging to the Loyalists as well as the IRA, terrorists, and keeping them in prison without trial.
Right.
Doug?
No, we can't have that. Indeed. Let me just say that when it was tried last time, it did not stop it. It did not stop it, and we cannot do this. A carte blanche approach to this subject, arresting people ad lib, whether they're innocent or guilty, is not the way forward. It's not the way forward, and we mustn't allow it to happen.
The intelligence services in Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic know who the IRA are. They know 98% of them they are. If those were taken out and put into internment camps, the situation would be resolved. Now, I'll tell you something. In 1960, when the IRA campaign was on, they had internment in the Republic of Ireland. And suddenly, the campaign was called off by the Commander-in-Chief of the IRA, Sean Cronin, at the time, because most of the fellows were inside. Now, they had the option of getting out. They had the option of saying, look, you can sign out if you obey if you obey the laws of the country. The majority of them did sign out, and consequently there was strife among the IRA. The people who signed out and the people who remained inside. They got on with fighting each other.
Come back.
No, that would be guilt by association. There would be a lot of innocent people in turn, and we cannot work that way. Nor would it be the way forward. It would poison relations.
Hold on.
You know, I mean,
to a greater or lesser extent. What about parents? How much responsibility have they got in all?
I think truancy is just a part of the disadvantages we have in this country in education. Like it or like it not, a considerable proportion of the people in this country, the education is way down their priorities. I think it goes back to the 60s where there was full employment, when you never had it so good was operating. And education, they didn't need a job to be educated. You just got a job. Now, those are the mothers today, and the children. Those are the mothers whose children are playing truant. And I think it's
Well, I
think
agree with that. I mean, that is totally out of
considerable
order. I didn't have a very good schooling. I bunked school. I bunked it a lot
You're
of times.
Darren's mum, aren't you?
I'm Darren's mum, yes. And my husband and I have tried bent over backwards to get our Darren to school. Education to us. Because of the lack of education in the world today, jobs in the world today, and the fact that you have to have GCEs for pushing a bush bike along the streets, if you like. We know all that, and because of all that, pressures are put on our younger generation today to get the GCEs and to get the O-levels. We shouldn't be putting this pressure on our children.
Yes, but my theory is this: stupidity is become respectable in this country, and that is the unfortunate truth.
No.
It's the yobbism and stupidity have now become a culture, and consequently, it's the kids who are playing truant are the victims of that snobbery and the victims of that.
Parents,
No,
60s parents.
No,
Me and you?
70s parents, whatever you like. But I wanted my daughter here.
Address these needs that young people have these days. It's a changing world, and our organisation is helping schools to change the way
Are
that
kids
they
out of control?
I would say kids today are out of control, and I have to admit that. I come back to the responsibility of parents. Well, I've just read in the paper yesterday that one head teacher asked a parent his child wasn't attending school, and she had the temerity to tell that teacher, "Oh, you've ruined my situation. Because I promised he promised me he was going to school Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I'd let him off Thursday and Friday." Now that is a dreadful situation. That is that's control.
Hello, my friend.
I think there are 2 or 3 things I would like to say. The first is, I think yesterday's...
It destroys the work ethic. Something for nothing. Your whole life is permeated by gambling.
I see what is being portrayed here is the extreme forms of gambling. I've never heard such doom and gloom, so now I'm going to give a bit of joy to the thing. I think the lottery is the greatest thing since Moses came out with the bulrushes, because people, for £1, they're getting a bit of joy at last. And every time we go into work on a Monday morning, we're not talking about the damn weather, we're talking about the lottery and how much how the hard luck and the £10 that they won.
Is it really joy?
It is a joy.
I think that really it spoils people. It ruins their characters.
For £1?
Because they become selfish. They are looking for something for nothing. They're looking for an easy life, and good, honest values of work just go out the window.
But you can have honest values. You can have honest values in life. You can have good principles in life. But you can also buy a £1 lottery, a ticket for a lot, £1.
Yeah,
that could open up a vision.
£1, does it? Not everybody's able to do that, are they?
The majority do. The
That's
majority,
the majority.
do stop.
But
we're
if
talking about the majority. I mean, why debar me from buying a £1 lottery? Because you, unfortunately, and I'm sorry, are a victim of gambling. But I'm not a victim of gambling. I'm probably the majority.
I feel so sorry for some of the stories I've heard here this morning.
Doom and gloom.
It is doom and gloom.
Well,
but the whole point is,
I'm in joy. It's a joy to put a £1 on a lottery
in the
ticket.
sight of God, and we are forgetting that. I'm sorry, I'm going to bring the religious attitude into this.
All right, come on.
It's also destroying the moral basis of our society in this country. We used to be called in this country a nation of small shopkeepers. We're gradually becoming a nation of gamblers.
For £1.
That it doesn't matter what the figure is. It doesn't matter what the figure is.
Introduced to give a
doesn't
bit of
matter
joy
what-
to
It doesn't
people's
matter what
lives.
the money. There's plenty of joy in this life without having to revert to gambling.
Gambling for £1.
Graham?
I think it's fair. Do you think we're going to become a nation of gamblers?
Not at all. If we were going to become a nation of gamblers, it would have happened when the betting shops came in.
But this is a bit bigger than the betting shops, isn't it? This is national advertising and kind of all the government authority behind it. You don't think it's going to make gambling a kind of approved...
Good. Great. The bigger the better. God, it's time we got out of the doldrums and had a little bit of fun.
I thoroughly agree with you, Marion, and it's a pleasure to hear those statements. It's a bit of fun, this lottery. People think that we're going to go to hell if we back the lottery. Rubbish. I think in Ireland we have it. We have a sense of fun, and it brings its own culture. in Ireland.
Culture?
Yes, a culture.
The gambling culture.
Yes, it does.
Is that a good thing, a gambling culture?
Not a gambling culture, a friendly culture. There's a difference. And in the villages in Ireland, they have fun with it. They watch it on television. And the chat goes, oh, I had number 8, and well, yeah, but I had number 9 in those sequence. It's something that we enjoy.
Well, you're telling me
They're
it's
too
almost
serious about gambling in this country, too puritanical. Let's release, get from these bondages. We're slaves to this.
I think he's got a great investment in the lottery.
Desi and bondage, I like the idea of it. But, Robert, I think we already are a nation of gamblers. I don't think that one has to kid oneself. This will really blow the whole thing up. It's going to be very, very big, this, but all indications. And I think we're going to...
Casinos open gradually, everything...
I think, yeah, that's it. That's a load of rubbish. If you think gambling... You can't say that the lottery is a gamble for £1. For an enjoyment of £1. The anticipation is better than the actual win, because you're going 5 days. I probably win the lottery on Saturday, and sometimes that gives a joy, or whatever it is. You know.
15 million to 1.
But people are going to bet £1, only £1.
£1, and of course. It's the beginning of the slippery slope for you.
Yes, it is.
David, you're encouraging people to become addicted.
That is absolutely nonsense. I've been to hell and back through gambling. This gentleman here doesn't know what he's talking about. Because because for the simple reason I've been there and I've been on my back, and it's not only me, it's the gamblers, the families of the gamblers that suffer. Not the gamblers, only the gamblers. It's the gamblers.
Do you think the lottery is going to increase people like you? Do you think that they seriously tell me that £1 in a lottery is unfortunately you have into that situation, and I'm sorry for you, but you can't seriously say that £1 for a lottery ticket is going to bring us all to that level.
Oh yes, I can, because £1, it starts with £1, and then it's £2, and then it's £5, and then it's £10, and then it's £20, and then it's £100.
What, for a lottery ticket? £100? They only have 5 people
You're
buying
talking
it.
about men that's addicted. You're talking about somebody who's addicted now. You're not talking about just the ordinary man.
Should every drunk stop the sale of alcohol? Is that what you're arguing for?
Yes.
Why?
What?
Because yes, I'm not arguing that any addiction should be tolerated, stopped.
A minority of people are addicted to certain things which upset their lives. Why should you or anybody else who is addicted to gambling or drink stop the rest of us from having a little bit of fun?
No, I'm not stopping anybody from gambling as long as they keep it to the normal everyday way of life. It's not why the lottery's £1. The lottery's got nothing to do with it if you like to go into that subject. But the point is, what I'm saying is, it starts with £1. For a compulsive gambler, it doesn't stop there.
David?
Well, I think if you look at what's happening...
Talking about a working population, goes to the opera, to the ballet. It's a minority every time. Yet they're going to spend 45 million building a new opera house in Wales. They're going to build a Lowry Centre, all right, but how many people go and look at paintings? Not a lot of the working population.
Oh, Des, how can I get you over there? Yes?
This gentleman is saying that in essence, you were saying that the working people are not going to these places, but that this gives them an opportunity to go to the Opera House in Wales.
Come on. Will you change seats? Go and change seats with him. Go on, you go around there. You sit down there.
Not in the contents that I'm trying to talk about. I mean, to say, there's all these art galleries and all, but they should be run by the government, not by the money that's coming in the lottery. It's, as the gentleman at the back said, it should go to where it's needed. Right. Hospitals,
yes.
But
they are
disabled.
Yes.
Pensioners.
They are.
Right.
I agree with what you're saying, but the Arts Council contribution from the lottery, you would say they're going to build extra opera houses here and there, but that gives the ordinary people a chance. It gives lesser prices for
but how many of them can afford to go?
But that's what I say, that if the money goes into the arts, then surely the prices will be cheaper, allowing you to go to those
I'm not against art.
No.
I mean, to say it's our national heritage. But I mean, the playwrights and what we've got some brilliant people here. But I mean, to say where all that money could be spent, it could be helping the dying children in the hospices.
Yes, it could, couldn't it, Kim?
It could, and we'd be absolutely delighted if it is.